All right, we are back with another episode of UFC Main Event Pick'em Challenge, and we have Sean O'Malley going up against Merab Dvalishvili on UFC Noche. Both guys having dubious claims to being Mexican, so this should be a fun fight here. Let's go over their recent stats and then break down their games and see who's going to win. So, Sean O'Malley is 29 years old. He is 180 centimeters tall, 183 centimeters in reach compared to Merab, who is 33, so notably he is 4 years older. He has 168 centimeters height and 173 centimeters in reach. So if we compare that, he's 12 centimeters shorter than O'Malley, and 183 to 173. He's 10 centimeters shorter in reach. So pretty outsized just in terms of height and reach by Sean O'Malley, and also notably 4 years older. And let's just go over the records real quick. Merab is 17-4. Sean O'Malley is 18-1. So and one no contest. So actually pretty similar experience in the record here. Let's go over their stats. So Sean O'Malley has 11 KOs, 2 submissions, 5 decisions compared to Merab, who has 3 KOs, 1 submission, and then 13 decisions. So Merab is a decision fighter, and I'm just going to say this right now. If this is a Merab night out, I do think that he's going to beat Sean O'Malley by decision. Let's go over the recent fights and then kind of analyze their game plans here. So Pedro Munoz got a no contest against Sean O'Malley. Pedro Munoz did win the first round of that fight against O'Malley, but O'Malley was doing pretty good, starting to pick it up in the second round, and then he poked Pedro Munoz in the eye. That was an unfortunate fight. Then O'Malley fights Petr Yan. Really good back and forth fight there with takedowns from both guys rocking each other, landing big shots. A lot of people thought Petr Yan won. A lot of people in hindsight do agree with Sean O'Malley getting the split decision nod. Then he goes up to the title fight and he fights Aljamain Sterling, knocking him out in the second round after a pretty close first round, which I do hand to Aljamain Sterling. I do think he did a little bit more with the kicks than Sean O'Malley did. And then Sean O'Malley really coming into his own as a champion, defending the belt against Marlon Vera, just looking great in doing so, winning 50-45 on, I'm pretty sure, all of the judges' scorecards. And now he's defending his belt against Merab Dvalishvili. Let's go over Merab's recent record. So he fights Marlon Moraes, gets rocked in that fight actually, but he comes back and TKOs him in the second round. Then he fights Jose Aldo, which Merab won 30-27. If I'm remembering it correctly, he just like blanketed Aldo. He looked good. He didn't get finished by Merab, or was even really close to getting finished by Merab, but he just wasn't able to do anything against Merab's unrelenting pressure. And you also do have to factor in the high altitude, which I do think caused Jose Aldo to look worse in terms of his cardio. Then he fights Petr Yan in a fight that a lot of people thought he was going to lose. He was a pretty big underdog in that fight. I think it was like a plus 180 or something like that. Or Petr Yan was like a minus 300 favorite to beat Merab here. Merab was coming off of a lackluster fight against Jose Aldo. And he just kind of does the same thing to Yan than he did to Jose Aldo. Notably, these two guys both have really good takedown defense, and Merab was able to just like stick on them, pressing them up against the cage. Very reminiscent of what Usman did to Masvidal in their first fight, where he just pressed him up against the cage consistently, stomping his foot. Merab didn't really do that, but he doesn't really have a ton of ground and pound. Then he fights Henry Cejudo. Now, something to note in this fight, it was a 3-round fight. Henry Cejudo did win the first round. He dropped Merab with I believe it was a right hand. And the wrestling was pretty back and forth in that first round, but you had to give it to Cejudo because of the drop. And then Cejudo just started gassing out. Merab did to Cejudo what he does to everyone else, and kind of like hanged on him, tired him out, won the fight by unanimous decision. Something that I find funny about Merab is he has a great personality, and his personality even shines through in his fights, where a lot of guys who have this really heavy, in terms of wrestling, pressure, people find them boring because they just like blanket you. Think of Colby Covington. They just blanket you. They just lay on top of you and win decisions that way. But that's not really Merab. His pressure is heavy. It is blanketing, but he was kind of like hamming it up in the Cejudo fight. Not really so much in the Jan and Aldo fight, but he has a very infectious personality, which makes a lot of people overlook kind of his boring fights. One MMA moment that lives rent free in my head is when Merab was kind of like cradling Henry Cejudo, and he was staring at Mark Zuckerberg, and Mark Zuckerberg was like clapping like a lunatic in the background. That was just so weird. Anyway, so what is Merab's game plan? Well, his game plan is pretty simple. It is to just kind of get you against the cage, get you on the ground, land ground and pound. He's done that to pretty much everyone he's fought. Even against Marlon Moraes, he was able to get him down and land ground and pound. He did get rocked by Marlon Moraes. Moraes eventually gassed out trying to chase a finish on Merab. Merab does have a finish in the UFC, getting technically guillotine choked by Ricky Simone, which I think is an insane call here. He also lost a decision to Frankie Sains, but other than that, he's just been on a tear. This is funny. He's had some grappling and sambo matches that he's lost like during his UFC stint. So yeah, he's great. He's really good at sticking on to guys. So when you get guys that have amazing takedown defense like Henry Cejudo, Petr Yan, Jose Aldo, three of the best anti-takedown fighters in the entire UFC, they just were unable to do anything against Merab. And it's not because his takedowns are that good. It's just that he won't stop coming forward. And once he has you up against the cage, he'll continuously shoot over and over and over again. So just defending one takedown perfectly isn't going to be enough to beat Merab. And this fight is actually really reminiscent of Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad in my mind, because when I'm thinking about Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad, Leon Edwards is that type of guy where he's able to defend takedowns perfectly. He has textbook everything, textbook striking, textbook wrestling, textbook jiu-jitsu. But what starts to crumble that perfect, shiny, new game plan that Leon Edwards brings into the cage is continuous pressure. And Colby Covington was able to get Leon Edwards down. How did he get him down? He just kind of kept grappling with him. Leon Edwards was able to stop the grappling once. He was able to stop it twice, but on the third time, on the fourth time, he starts to get tired. These guys that just continuously push forward are going to be able to eventually like crack the shell of someone that does it technically perfect but doesn't really, do anything more than that. If you're able to stop a takedown technically perfect, but then you're just, I'm going to try to box with you, and then when you take me down, then I'm going to defend the takedown, and then once I defend the takedown, I'm going to go back to trying to box with you. You're not really incorporating that takedown defense or punishing their takedowns into your game. You need to do a little bit more against grapplers as good as Merab Dvalishvili. And we saw this come to pass in the Bilal Muhammad fight against Leon Edwards, where, Colby Covington shot like one or two takedowns around until like the fourth and the fifth round when he was actually able to get Edwards down. Bilal Muhammad's just like, fuck it, I'm not going to shoot only one takedown per round. I'm going to keep going and going and going until I get the takedown. And that kind of style worked against Leon Edwards. So you might be thinking, well, if Bilal Muhammad is able to enact a Merab Dvalishvili style game plan against someone with as good of takedown defense as Leon Edwards, then of course the real deal, Merab Dvalishvili, is going to be able to have success against Sean O'Malley. But I think that's not the case, and let me tell you why. The biggest factor of Sean O'Malley in this fight is going to be his footwork, in my opinion. Sean O'Malley's takedown defense doesn't start when his opponent goes for the takedown and the first thing he does is he sprawls. His takedown defense is his footwork. He moves around, he makes it difficult for the opponent to shoot on him, because when they shoot on him, he's going to be able to slip off to the side, land that counter left, land that counter right, land a knee up the guard as they're coming in. or just avoid the takedown altogether and stay with the striking. That's the type of takedown defense you're going to need to beat someone with as good of wrestling as Merab Dvalishvili. You can't just stuff the takedown and expect that's going to be enough. Because when you're stuffing the takedown, you're losing the fight. He's pressuring you up against the cage. He's wearing on you. He's tiring you out. He's winning in the eyes of the judges. You can't just stuff single takedowns. You need to have this good footwork. You need to have cage control, cage awareness, an idea of where your opponent is so that you can, keep him off of you. If you're defending a takedown, you're losing. You need to make it so that he's uncomfortable to the point where he's not really able to shoot good takedowns on you. We can talk about their striking for a while now. I don't think Merab Dvalishvili's striking is even close to Sean O'Malley's striking. Arguably, Merab is the worst striker that Sean O'Malley has fought in the last few fights. If we take another look at his record, Marlon Vera, better striker than Merab. Aljo, better striker than Merab. Petr Yan, way better striker than Merab. Pedro Munoz is probably a comparable striker to Merab. But I do think O'Malley has improved a lot in the 2 years since he fought Pedro Munoz, and he is on another level of striking with Merab. Sean O'Malley's striking is more dangerous than Merab's grappling is dangerous. Sean O'Malley has knockouts. Merab barely has any submissions. He barely has any TKOs with his ground and pound. Notably being the one TKO he has being Marlon Moraes, who has a horrible chin and gassed out completely while trying to chase a finish on Merab. So this is a lot of words, and it just really boils down to this is a striker versus grappler matchup. Let's keep in mind every round begins on the feet, although a lot of the rounds are probably going to end on the mat or at least up against the cage with Merab pressing O'Malley up there. However, I do think O'Malley is going to be able to keep Merab off of him enough with footwork. He's got to be really light on his feet because Merab is not going to give him any chance to breathe. I don't think Merab's going to really want to strike with him too much. I know he striked against Cejudo and Petr Yan. He likes to strike and then go in for those takedowns. I don't think he's going to play that striking game. I think he's going to just go in for takedowns immediately on O'Malley. And O'Malley's going to really have to spend the first few minutes kind of getting that edge off of Merab's energy until he gets down to a bit more of a manageable pace. Just really staying light on his feet, circling against the side of the cage, making it difficult for Merab to time a takedown on his legs. If Merab does go for a takedown on his legs, O'Malley's got to make sure that he's in the middle of the octagon so that he has space to get up from the takedowns and then just retreat. Don't try to counter wrestle him like what Leon Edwards did to Colby Covington. Don't try to just take a breather and lean up against the back of the octagon while Merab's hanging on you. I know that's a lot of fighters' safe spaces when they're trying to defend takedowns. You have to stop the takedown immediately, get up, get out, land punches on your opponent. I do think O'Malley has the striking to be able to really hurt Merab on the feet. I do think he has the footwork and the takedown defense that are required to be able to beat Merab. And I think that out of all of the fighters in the bantamweight division, O'Malley is one of the only ones with good enough footwork to kind of defuse some of Merab's grappling. I don't think Merab has the ability to finish Sean O'Malley, even if he gets him on the ground. I don't think he can submit him. I don't think he can ground and pound him out. Of course, he could, but I don't think that's likely. I think the most likely scenario is he just wears on him, throws these little shitty rabbit punches from the clinch or from full guard if he gets into O'Malley's full guard, winning rounds that way. And I do think that if it gets into the fourth round, O'Malley is probably going to be too exhausted to really finish Merab. So a Merab win by decision is likely on the cards. He is looking extremely jacked here. Got to give Merab credit. O'Malley's looking pretty big too. Ultimately, I don't think Merab's wrestling is going to be impactful enough to finish Sean O'Malley, even if he gets him to the ground. And I do think that Sean O'Malley's striking is going to be good enough to finish Merab Dvalishvili on the feet. I'm predicting a second or third round knockout by Sean O'Malley. I think he's going to spend the first few minutes of every round trying to just like retreat, avoid those blitzing takedowns that Merab throws. He has the range, he has the skills, he has the footwork and the intelligence to land damaging shots while also avoiding Merab's takedowns, or at least giving him good opportunities to land takedowns on Sean O'Malley. So ultimately, my prediction for this fight is going to be Sean O'Malley by a round 2 knockout. I do kind of like the idea of a round 2 knockout in this fight. But if you think that Sean O'Malley's footwork I'm overplaying it, I would definitely pick Merab Dvalishvili by decision. I don't think he has like the fight-ending skills that are required to finish a guy like Sean O'Malley. Let's take a look at the odds. I haven't looked at them yet. I would imagine Merab is about a -150 favorite. Oh, wow. It's a dead even pick. -113, -113. I'm wondering, have the odds moved? Let's see. O'Malley versus Merab best fight odds. Or let's do odd tracker. Odd tracker. I swear that Merab opened up as a favorite. Let's see. Would it be in Odds Shark? Formerly a large underdog, he's now going to be a -140 favorite. Okay, well, these are weird, but I did think that Sean O'Malley was going to be the underdog, and I'm super surprised to see him being a dead even with Merab. So yeah, this is a fun fight. It's a pick'em according to my bookie at the time of recording. It's an exact pick'em at -113. That makes it really fun. And I think that something you can do if you want like some more squeeze, if you want some more juice for your squeeze, you could bet the over if you're deciding on Merab, or you can bet the under if you're deciding on Sean O'Malley. I do kind of see it hard for Sean O'Malley to win by decision. I just think his strikes are too accurate, and Merab has shown a susceptibility to getting rocked with big punches. If Cejudo can rock Merab like that, if Marlon Moraes can rock Merab like that, Sean O'Malley is going to be able to, and I would argue Sean O'Malley has better finishing capabilities than both of those guys. And then one more thing, like I've been kind of talking about the age being a factor recently, with Jared Cannonier losing to Cracked Costa, and Jared Cannonier losing to Nasruddin Imavov. Merab Dvalishvili is 33, so he's 4 years older than Sean O'Malley. At bantamweight, that could be significant. I just straight up think Sean O'Malley's taken less wear and tear on his body than Merab has. His chin is for sure better than Merab Dvalishvili's chin. Like, I don't see Merab really rocking or significantly hurting Sean O'Malley on the feet. And again, he's going to have to just blanket him if he wants to win this fight. So anyway, guys, that's my prediction for this fight. Sean O'Malley, second round knockout. Let me know what your predictions were down below, and let me know what you thought about this breakdown. What did I get right? What did I got wrong? And everyone, enjoy the fights.